Our next step is to create the model that is going to represent the data that we want to save in the database. So for the models, I'm just going to go ahead and create a brand new folder. I'll call it models. And what we're trying to save is a movie, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and add a new Swift file and make sure that that is called movie. So it should be movie.swift. Okay. Now the movie class that we are building, this is going to be our data. This is going to be our entity that will be saved in the database. First, I will go ahead and import Fluent, and I will also import Vapor, final class, movie. And since this is going to be a class that can allow us to save, like all the different ORM operations like saving and finding and all that stuff, I'm going to go ahead and conform to the model protocol. Okay. Next, we need to define the schema. Basically, we need to say that what will be the name of the table where it will be stored. So I'm just going to go ahead and say movies. And this is a requirement. You have to provide the schema or else it will not work. A couple of other things that we need to define. We need to define the ID of the movie, which is basically the primary key. So I'm just going to go ahead and create an ID property, which will be UUID. And I'm going to use the property wrapper ID and pass in the key, which is ID. So this all basically means that we are creating, and you can name your property anything you want, but what we're saying is that we are creating a new property called ID. The value of that, or the data type of that property, will be UUID, and that is a key. Key basically means that this is going to be a primary key. Now, if you go over here, you can see that you can have an ID. I mean, if you do want to create your own stuff, then you will have to look into the documentation. But my advice is to just keep it as ID. And because ID is the one that we're going to be using, that will be the primary key. It will be automatically generated. Okay. Next, we need to create a property to represent the title of the movie. And we also can say over here, field key will be title, which basically means that in the database, the key will be title, meaning the column name will be the title. So over here, if I go ahead and say movie ID, okay, then it means that ID is just a property of the movie entity, movie class, but the key, meaning in the database, the column name will be movie ID. Now, I don't really want to call it movie ID, so I would just stick to the actual convention. So I'll just call it ID, that's fine. But if you want to change the name of the column in the database, you can. So if I want to call my property name movie title, I can do that. And this means that the actual column name in the database will be called title. Now, in this particular case, I actually do want the property name to be title, and I do want the column name to be title also, so that's perfectly fine. Next, we have to create an empty initializer. And we can also create an initializer that is going to take in the ID, which is UUID. And by default, it will be nil, so we don't have to pass it. And the title obviously will be string. Now we can go ahead and assign these different things. So we have a couple of different initializers, two initializers that we can use. So this will be the model. This model is going to represent a particular movie. It only consists of two different properties, the ID property, which is the primary key, which is of type UUID, and a title property, which is a string. And in the database, it should create a column name title with this spelling, which is title. Okay, so now we have created our model. And another important point that I discuss is the movie entity will be saved in an actual physical table called movies. I would encourage you to name your tables small. This is a convention. If your table name consists of two different words, then I would use snake casing. So let's say that if you want to store TV shows, then I would use something like this. But right now we're just storing movies, so I'm just going to use movies because this is kind of like the convention of Postgres. I mean, it's not like it's not going to work if you call it movies. It is still going to work, but I would just call it movies. And you'll see that when you are using some sort of query analyzer tool to perform SQL commands, then it will also be very helpful, and you don't have to wrap your table names in double quotes because they're already lowercase. So this is it. This is our movie entity. Then the next thing that we need to do is to create a migration that will allow us to basically create the table. All right, so let's go ahead and do that in the next lecture. This video is brought to you by my latest course, Mastering Full Stack iOS Development using Swift UI and Vapor. This is a 12-hour course which takes you on a journey of creating a full stack application. This means that you are not only going to learn the Swift UI, which is the client side, but you're also going to be learning about the server side. You will create your own server using Vapor, and you will integrate it with Postgres database. You will also learn about MongoDB, protecting route authentication using JWT, deployment, middleware, so much more, so much more. This is a complete course. If you wanted to learn full stack development, then this is the only course you need. 12-hour course, already have 200 plus students registered. If you want to register for this course, then check out the YouTube description. There's a link, and click on that link, use that link to register and enroll in this course. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the video. All right, so one of the most important concepts when you are working with object relational mapper like Fluent is the concept of migrations. Migrations are basically, as you can see over here, version control system for your database. This means that if you're trying to create a table, if you're trying to add a new column to the table, if you're trying to change an existing column data type, default values, adding a constraint, removing a constraint. In other words, if you're trying to do anything with a database table or the database, you have to use migrations. Okay? So this is exactly what we will be doing. And the reason that you're going to use migration is that you have a history of changes that you have done to your database. So when the new developer joins in, that person, the new developer, runs all the migration, and now their database is, their local database is up to date because all the migration was keeping track of all the history and the structural changes to the database. So that's the main purpose of migration. So let's go ahead and add a migration. Our migration should add a new table, which will be for movies, and it should consist of ID field and the title field. For migrations, I'm going to go ahead and add a new folder, and I will name it migrations. And now we can go ahead and add a new Swift file which can represent a migration. So I'm going to go ahead and add a file. Now the name of the file is important because you want to name your file in a way that is going to tell you that, okay, this is a particular migration, or what the migration is doing. So you can name it anything you want, but I'm just going to be a little bit more descriptive. I'm just going to say create movies table migration, because this particular migration is going to be creating the movies table in the database. Which database? Well, the database that is hosted right here on Elephant SQL. But depending on the configuration settings that you have done, which you have done over here, the migrations can be run on any database, or it can be on local, it can be on Elephant SQL, it can be on Heroku, it can be on Render, it can be on many different platforms. So let's go back and create this migration. Now the migration that we're going to create, and this is basically true for if you're creating a migration in, in any ORM, usually the structure of the migration is we create the name of the migration. So create movies table migration. And since we are going to be using async and await features, we're going to go ahead and use the async migration protocol. If you are not using async and await, then you will simply use migration protocol. But I'm just going to use async migration because we are going to use, in the whole app, we're using async and await. So why not in the migration also? When you conform to the async migration or migration, you can see that we need to implement two different functions over here. Okay, one of them is called prepare, the other one is called revert. So let's go ahead and see what these things are. The prepare function is responsible for what you are trying to do. In other words, whenever you run the migration, whatever is in the prepare function is going to get executed. So if you're creating a table, go ahead and create the table using the prepare function or inside the prepare function. The revert function would do opposite of what you did in a prepare function. So if you are create the movies table, what's the opposite of creating the movies table? Well, deleting the movies table, right? So delete the movies table. But why would we do that? Why would we implement the revert function? Well, the reason that we will implement the opposite or the revert function is because sometimes we want to undo the migration. We accidentally run the migration and we forgot to add a field, so we will simply undo. And whenever you undo, the revert function gets called. But let's go ahead and focus on the prepare function for now. In the prepare function, we need to create our table. So try await database, which is already passed to you in the prepare function, dot schema. The table that we're talking about is movies. Go ahead and create a column name ID to it, and also go ahead and create a field. This field will be called title. It will be of string, and it is a required field. And dot create. And that's it, you're done. Isn't that cool that by only few lines of code, when you run this migration, and we have to run it, then it is going to run the prepare function, the up function, also known as the up function, and it's going to create the table. Okay, if I want to undo, if accidentally I created the movies table, then I should also implement the revert. What's the revert? Meaning the undo part of it. So database dot schema movies dot delete. So this is going to delete our table. So whatever we did in the prepare function, we are trying to do the opposite in the revert function, because this is basically the undo operation, basically when we are trying to undo our migration. So I will write over here, this will run when you undo the migration. Accidentally, maybe you created, maybe you needed to add a couple of different fields, so you can undo it. Okay. So now we have created the migration. We still have to register our migrations. So I'm just going to go to configure and we will register our migration. So every time you create a migration, you should register it over here. app.migrations.add, and the migration name is create movies table migration. So that is the migration that we're trying to do. Okay, let's go ahead and build it. So anytime now, maybe later on, I decide that, oh, I needed to add another field to the movies, like the name of the actor, right? So there are a couple of ways. If our database is not populated, if it doesn't really have anything, then I can undo the migration and I can add the field over here and run the migration again. Or if it's later down the road, maybe in a couple of months, then I can go ahead and create a brand new migration in which I will only add one more column, which is for the director name or the actor name. Another thing to note with the migrations is once you run this migration and it is successful, later on when you try to run the migration, this migration will not run because it has already been run. So that's another thing to note about migrations. Okay, so we created our migration, which looks good. The next part is how do we run the migrations? So let's go ahead and see how we can do that. One way to run your migration is to simply open up your terminal, go inside your root folder of your project. So in our case, it is Movies app, and then run the Vapor command. Vapor run migrate. So this is going to try to run all the migrations that have not been run before, but before that, it's going to, download some packages. This is going to take a little bit of time, but this is only going to happen once and not every single time you run a migration. So just to be patient. It's only going to happen once, and in the future, if we run our migrations again, some new migration, this is not going to be downloaded again and again. All right, so we're back. Now, this definitely took a while to get to this point. And at the end, you can see it's basically saying the following migration will be prepared. And it is saying that the name of the migration. The name of the migration looks correct. So I'm just going to say, yeah, sure, go ahead and continue. And there we go. It ran the migration. That's it. Now, if the migration was run successfully, and it actually does say that it was successful, then we should see a physical database table being created. And one of the ways that we can find out if the database is being created is to go back over here into our Elephant SQL. We'll go to the browser. Now you can use any other tool if you want. I mean, if you don't like the Elephant SQL, the website browser that I'm using, you can definitely use something else. Now, here we go. You can actually see that if you click on table queries, you can see two different tables. One table is called Fluent Migrations, and the other is called Movies. So that's pretty cool because that's the actual table that we wanted to create. So it is there. I mean, obviously the Movies table doesn't really have anything in it, but at least the Movies table was created. I mean, that's always good. And the other table is Fluent Migrations that was created. So if I select everything from Fluent Migrations, if you open it up, you will see that it does have a single record in there. And the record does have an ID, it has the name of the migration, and it has created at and updated at. But the important point over here is that the Fluent Migration table is automatically created when you run a migration, and it inserts the name of the migration into the table so that it knows that this migration has already been run, so I don't have to run it again. You should not mess around with this table. This is a table for Vapor and Fluent, so you shouldn't delete or add anything inside there. And this is just to keep track of what migration have already been run so that those migrations do not run again. The tables that you should be interested in is the Movies table. And right now we obviously don't really have anything in the Movies table, but that is something we need to fix, meaning we need to add some data to the Movies table. But at least the tables are created. I mean, that's a good step forward through the use of migrations. Okay. Now, if I want to undo the migration, maybe I ran the migration accidentally. I don't know, right? How do I undo the migration? Well, again, from the terminal, I'm just going to go ahead and say Vapor, run, migrate, but with revert tag. So I can go ahead and call revert. And what revert is supposed to do is it's supposed to call the down function, I call the revert function, and delete the database or whatever we are doing, delete the table or whatever we are doing in the revert. That's why we implemented revert, that if we made a mistake, if we wanted to undo something, we can do that. Let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Hopefully it's not going to take that much time, but we'll see. Here we go. The following migration will be reverted. Okay, yes. And now it's reverted. Now, if it's reverted successfully, that means our table will be gone, right? So let's go back. And now if we run this same command again, it says that the Movies table doesn't even exist. And if we look into the Fluent Migrations table, it's completely empty. Remember, it has one record of the migration that you ran, but now since we reverted it, that record is deleted, it's gone. So what should we do? Well, I'm actually pretty happy with the migration. So I'm just going to go ahead and run the migration using Vapor Run Migrate. I don't really want to add any new field or change the name or structure or data type or anything like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and run the migration. And again, I'm going to say, yes, that's the only migration that we want to run. And it's run again. And now we should have the Movies table that we can check out. So it doesn't give us the error that, hey, the movie table doesn't exist, because now it does exist. And in the Fluent migration, we have another where the same record is added again, you can see, telling us that this migration has already been run. So that's great. We are on the right track. We added our migration, which creates the Movies table. And since now we have the table and we have the model, we can now work into adding something to the database.